Before we get into today's video, don't forget to scoop up something to munch on at rrgsnacks.com, our online concession stand that has an assortment of teriyaki beef jerky, cookies and cream popcorn, and butter toffee peanuts. Through the years, the Knowles family faced several public battles, including Solange and Jay-Z's little elevator tussle, Jay-Z revealing he cheated on the hottest chick in the game, and Mathew fathering 2 children outside of his marriage to Miss Tina before their divorce was finalized in 2011. Yep, they have family drama just like the rest of us. But in 2019, they put their differences aside when Mathew was confronted with a devastating health crisis that would change their lives forever. To give you some better insight into this situation, we have to take you back to the 80s. Prior to managing Destiny's Child and producing many of their projects, Mathew Knowles worked in the medical division of Xerox, selling breast cancer imaging equipment. As we all know, he eventually left the corporate world behind to manage Destiny's Child full-time. Now, let's fast forward to 2011. After Live Nation told Beyonce that her daddy was potentially stealing money from her, she ordered an audit through a law firm and eventually severed professional ties with him. Mathew filed a lawsuit against Live Nation, stating they falsely accused him in order to X him out and take over Beyonce's career. According to sources, a judge later ruled in favor of Live Nation. In a statement, Beyonce said, "I've only parted ways with my father on a business level. He is my father for life, and I love my dad dearly." However, their personal relationship was indeed strained. Well, according to Mathew. Mathew said after everything went down with his firing and the lawsuit, he and Beyonce were no longer on speaking terms. Beyonce would later refer to her parents' past contentious marriage and the pain Mathew caused her mother in her song lyrics. Beyonce and Mathew reportedly mended their relationship after the 2012 birth of Blue Ivy. However, Beyonce and Solange skipped Mathew's wedding to Gina Avery in 2013, but were cheesing and grinning at their mom's 2015 wedding. During the next few years, it appeared that Mathew was completely back in the mix. He had the press on speed dial and would constantly chime in about certain gossip reports on the internet, including Beyonce and Jay-Z's divorce rumors. And then came 2019, when their lives got flipped upside down. Mathew started to notice tiny drops of blood on his white t-shirts and on his bedding. He told the New York Times he watched things for about 3 days and began to question if it was his medication or his workout regimen that was causing the blood to appear. But then he squeezed his nipple and a bloody discharge came out. Mathew immediately called his doctor. His wife accompanied him to the doctor's office where he received a blood smear test that came up inconclusive. Mathew was then scheduled for a mammogram which confirmed the unthinkable. He had stage 1A breast cancer. He told NBC News that his initial response to the diagnosis was, "Why me? Of all things I could get, why would I get this?" His wife Gina had a hard time hearing the diagnosis because less than a year earlier, her younger sister had died of breast cancer at the age of 49. Mathew told People magazine as soon as he found out, the first person he called was his ex-wife, Tina. Trusting that he was in good hands with his doctors, he decided to wait until after undergoing a mastectomy to tell Beyonce and Solange about his diagnosis. He told Billboard he didn't want to worry his children or have them think that he was in a life or death kind of situation. In July 2019, he privately underwent a mastectomy. Doctors also removed 3 lymph nodes to see if cancer had spread in his body. Thankfully, it hadn't, and he wasn't required to undergo chemotherapy. Doctors then conducted a test that revealed Mathew has the BRCA2 gene mutation, which increases certain cancer risks. The diagnosis pushed him to look into his family history. He knew that his mom and aunt had died of breast cancer, but he also learned that his great-aunt died of it as well, and 4 of his father's 6 brothers had died of prostate cancer. This revelation compelled him to finally have a tough conversation with Beyonce and Solange. He told them about the surgery and how they needed to take precautions as well. He told the New York Times, "My daughters have an increased chance in having breast cancer. They have an increased chance of ovarian cancer, and it goes down to grandkids." Mathew told NBC News he urged Beyonce and Solange to undergo preventative testing. He told People magazine that both of his daughters agreed to take the appropriate next steps. He said, "They have taken care of that. It's simple testing, and they're moving on." After his mastectomy, he had a smooth recovery, but in the aftermath, he realized how uncomfortable it is to be a man with a breast cancer diagnosis. He told the New York Times that a lot of men are embarrassed to walk into a breast cancer center where everything is pink and catered to women. Mathew also felt uneasy going into offices, and the staff would ask him if he was there to check on his wife. According to research by the American Cancer Society, an estimated 2,700 men are diagnosed with breast cancer each year, and approximately 530 of them lose their lives from the disease. In comparison, about 287,850 women receive a diagnosis, and 43,250 will die. While men make up just a tiny portion of breast cancer diagnoses each year, they die at a disproportionately higher rate, 19% higher than women, in part because their cancer is often found later. The American Cancer Society also states that, similar to Black women, Black men with breast cancer tend to have a worse prognosis. As of this video, he's still cancer-free. Every 6 months, he receives early detection tests to check for cancer in his prostate, pancreas, chest, and melanoma. Knowing that he's at a higher risk, he has completely changed his life through diet, exercise, and limiting his alcohol consumption.
I wanted to just have a clean bill of health, do things, exercise, meditate.
He told SurvivorNet.com that he tries to run at least 2 miles nonstop. He does intermittent fasting, and he only consumes vegetables and an occasional piece of chicken or fish 3 to 4 times per month. Mathew said he was in better shape than he was before his diagnosis. His numbers for pre-diabetes had decreased, and his cholesterol was back to normal as well. A cancer journey hasn't slowed him down. He has gone on to work on several film and TV projects, including some Destiny's Child projects since he's still the group's manager. He also works as a professor at the University of Houston and Prairie View A&M, and hosted his own podcast on iHeartRadio. These days, he has a great relationship with his ex-wife, and his relationship with his eldest children is getting better every day. Solange told Essence magazine that her relationship with her dad was still a work in progress. As for Beyonce, he was invited to watch her first performance in years at Dubai's Atlantis Resort in January 2023. Fans even spotted him grabbing a bite to eat inside the resort with Tina. In order to spread awareness, Mathew is urging all men to get checked. He also suggests that the medical terminology be changed to chest cancer to make it more gender inclusive. Mathew also spends a great deal of time educating the world about male chest cancer, especially within the Black community. He told USA Today, "Who doesn't want to be able to get ahead of potentially life-changing diseases or health conditions? Knowledge is power."